Despite the fact that Joe Biden pledged to be bipartisan, ever since taking office, Joe Biden and the Democrat majority in the Senate and the House have not tried to work with Republicans any. Once they fall into a roadblock where two of their senators buck their agenda, now they're pointing fingers and blaming Republicans, which is nonsense. If Joe Biden wanted to be bipartisan and wanted to have Republican support, he should have started on day one. He didn't start even until the very last moment when his agenda failed. Now he's blaming Republicans. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, speaking of not being bipartisan, listen to this language. Biden calling Republicans, quote, disgraceful and hypocritical for not caving on the debt ceiling. Is Joe Biden basically going to gaslight his way through the next 3 years?
I have no idea. Just watching Joe Biden govern as president, it has just been a big disappointment. It's been a debacle from Afghanistan to the lack of border security. Everything Joe Biden's tried to do, he has failed in. Every major policy, when you look at anything from his energy policy to spending and passing his agenda, he's just come up short. And for Joe Biden to point fingers at Republicans again is just wrong, because Joe Biden has failed to try to work with any House Republicans. And the only time he worked with Senate Republicans was when the handful of moderate Republicans went over and they made a deal on the infrastructure bill. And then as they were leaving the White House, Joe Biden reneged on that deal and said, well, in addition to that infrastructure bill, we're also going to pass this $3.5 trillion budget reconciliation. That wasn't discussed with those Republican senators. So Joe Biden is completely wrong when he tries to blame Republicans for any of his failings.
Okay, let's talk about Hunter Biden here for a second, because Jen Psaki was asked about whether Hunter Biden has divested from Chinese private equity firms. Take a listen to what she had to say.
Wouldn't it be assuring to let the American people know if Hunter has divulged himself?
I'm going to have to move on. That you should talk to his representatives. And there's no reason to yell. I'm certainly not yelling. You should talk to his representatives. That remains his policy.
Why are we not getting answers about this situation?
Well, there's so many questions with Hunter Biden. Every question of ethics revolves around a foreign national. It's obvious that then candidate Biden pledged to divest any and all of his and his family's international holdings. The fact that Jen Psaki couldn't say, yes, Hunter Biden divested his stake in that Chinese holding tells me that he probably still owns it. You know, the law applies to everyone but Hunter Biden, in Hunter Biden's mind. And between the ownership of this Chinese company and his art dealings that we believe are going to China, the fact that the administration won't disclose this, they won't say we've got a problem with our son, it's just another example of failed leadership. If this had been the Trump family, I can't imagine what the Democrats in Congress and the liberal media would be doing right now. Hunter Biden has already committed more unethical behavior with foreign nationals than any family member in the history of the presidency. And we've got to do something about this. That's why the House Republicans are just investigating everything Hunter Biden doing with respect to foreign nationals now, because it's illegal, it's unethical, and it creates a situation where Joe Biden could be compromised to some of these foreign companies.